Hello, and welcome to my home buyer orientation. I'm Nancy Berger with Coldwell Banker Realty here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. We're going to start today with a quick introduction, a step-by-step guide for buying a home, what things you may want to avoid, and what do realtors do? Let's get started. Who am I? I'm Nancy Berger, a realtor associated with Coldwell Banker Realty out of the Crocus Hill office here in St. Paul, Minnesota. I have what I call a calm approach to a real estate transaction where I clarify, assure, lead, and move the transaction to a successful conclusion. So if you're ready to start purchasing a home, let's get started. First steps, you have to figure out why you want to buy a home and really put that down in writing, maybe just a little paragraph. It doesn't have to be a full thesis, but definitely a little paragraph or a couple of bullet points as to why you want to buy a home. And what's your perfect move-in date? Is it in the next 3 months, 6 months, or in the next year? Again, there's something that you need to figure out what it is and why. Get a budget together. That's really important. What can you afford and what you've been affording to this point, and just get your expenses in line. Know your credit score. It's easy enough to find credit scores nowadays without having to pay for them. Also get a copy of your credit report, especially if you haven't ordered one in a while. You can get one free from each of the 3 major credit agencies. Your credit lenders and mortgage lenders are going to be pulling your credit, so you might as well pull it first and check for anything that might be incorrect. And we want to get those things fixed before you actually do go and apply for credit. You're going to save for your down payment, set aside earnest funds, and then also budget for things that will come up during the process, like a home inspection and appraisal, along with any type of moving costs. Get pre-qualified. This is easy enough to do, and it doesn't hit your credit report, but it'll give you a quick idea as to how much house you can afford and actually where you can start your search process. Again, it's something that's easy enough to do with a phone call or online. And then you're going to hire me, and we're going to work together, and we're going to work through my calm process to the real estate transaction. I'm going to have you interview lenders. I want you to interview at least 3 different mortgage lenders. Every mortgage company has a different program, and one program may be better for you than another. So again, we want to look at all of those. We also want to look at the costs associated. Does one lender have a little bit better interest rate, but charges a very large appraisal fee? We want to consider all of those costs that will come up within the transaction and make the best decision for you in your current situation. But then we're going to get pre-approved for a mortgage. This is the big step. This is where it hits your credit report. So we want to have all of our ducks in a row before then. You're going to want 2 years of tax returns. You're going to want your current pay stubs and any type of credit information. There's a whole list that I will give you, but again, that's something that you're going to want to start gathering, that type of information. And then you will want to set aside the earnest money funds, because those funds we'll need to write a check for when your purchase agreement has been accepted by the seller. So we may not have a lot of time to write that check after we submit the purchase paperwork. So again, you want to have that very liquid and able to write a check for that very quickly. So Nancy, what is the 80-10-10 rule? What the heck is that? Let me tell you, basically no house is 100% perfect. No house is going to check every single box on your list, but we're looking for the house that hits 80% of your wish list, your want list. Then we're going to look at 10% of stuff that we can change and that you can change and evolve and make it your own. And then 10%, it's like, Nancy, not really fond of this, but I can live with it. That's the house we want. A house that checks off 80% of the must-haves, 10% of the we can change, and another 10% of we can live with that. No worries. So start gathering your needs, your wants, your wishes, and truthfully, as much important as the want is the what I don't want. And that helps us narrow down exactly what it is that you're looking for. So start gathering that information and making your lists. Home search visits with me. Once we have a signed contract, you and I are going to go out and we're going to look at a bunch of houses that seem to fit the bill and narrow it down to the one that's going to fit the bill and be that 80-10-10 for you. In the meantime, I'm going to want you to drive through neighborhoods, check the commute, check the neighborhood, walk the neighborhood, visit the parks. Do you want to be near recreation, or is being close to family more important, or friends? Do you like being close to the river, walking distance to the river, or biking distance to the river, or do you want to be closer, further out of town or closer in town? Really, you kind of draw your circle and around your, desired commuting time, and then let's see what falls within that circle and what seems to be desirable for you. Visit open houses. I'm going to give you a set of my business cards to keep in your car. So if you happen to see an open house and decide to stop in, present my card to the listing agent that is there, that's sitting the open house, and let them know that you're working with Nancy, and that if they would like to follow up, they're more than happy to contact me. And then keep notes. After we've seen about 3 houses, the houses are going to start to run together, and it's going to be sometimes harder to remember one over another. So basically, I want you to take a piece of paper, put the address and date at the top of the page, and then basically 2 columns, what I love about the house and what I don't love about the house. Just a couple of bullet points, just something to help trigger the memory. And then definitely see multiple homes. We definitely want to see what is out in the market today, what's available, and what it is that you really are looking for. Your offer has been accepted. What now? No panic. We have the calm approach, remember? So what we're going to do is arrange immediately to have the home inspected. You and I will be there with the inspector to receive his verbal report. He's going to show us different things around the house. Remember that no house is perfect. Do not fall out of love with the house during the inspection process. We're going to get his report. We're going to have a couple of days to review it. We're going to decide what's major that we might need some concessions on. We're going to decide what's minor, and we'll fix it later. Or is this really a deal breaker and we just need to walk away? So again, that's going to be in the inspection report. You've paid for the inspection report. You're going to read and review that inspection report. If the house is part of a homeowners association, the seller will provide those. Again, we have a limited amount of time to review those. I don't care if it's this thick and you don't like to read legalese, you're reading it because you're going to live there. These are the rules you're going to have to abide by. So again, this is 2 very, very important documents to read and understand. In the meantime, we're going to secure financing. You're going to finalize your lending and your mortgage with the lender, answer any questions that they have. The lender will, more than likely, order an appraisal on the property, and they'll have told you if you have to pay the appraisal fee upfront or if it's going to be part of the closing package. But again, that's something to be aware of. Now we're going to negotiate any repairs or credits if it's necessary and if it's applicable. You're going to shop around, secure your homeowner's insurance. You're going to do that well before closing so that the lender and your title company and your closing agent has that information in plenty of time. We don't want to be scrambling for that at the last minute. So again, they'll need proof of insurance. And then answer all the lender questions promptly. The lender might have a question or need a point clarified on something or might need some additional information. Just take those phone calls, answer those questions as promptly as you can. Next, are you ready to move? Have you started even considering moving? Oh my gosh, we're closing in 20 days. What do? Get friends, get family, get boxes. Arrange your movers, whether it's professional movers or pizza movers. Set up your utilities at the new house. More than likely, the sellers will be canceling their utilities the day of closing, so you want to start the utilities at the new house on the day of closing so that we have electricity and maybe even heat or air conditioning while we're doing our final walkthrough. Cancel your current utilities at your current place, making sure that you have enough utilities on so that you can move comfortably. So there might be a little bit of overlap. And then any type of address change submissions. You always forget something, but all of your banking, magazine subscriptions, whatever it is, I'll start working on those. Then we received clear to close from your lender. That's the information that we're waiting for. That means that the closing is going to happen. It's going to be wonderful, and all of the ducks are in a row. We're going to do our final walkthrough. What that means is that, of course, we want electricity on. And then if we negotiated any repairs from the seller, we want to bring that list with us just to double check in case we needed to address something at the closing table. Next up, closing table. You'll sign the final purchase and mortgage documents. More than likely, you signed several documents ahead of time that we could, and then there's just a few documents to sign actually at the closing table. Closing shouldn't take more than, maybe a half hour, maybe up to an hour, depending on what needs to be signed and if there's any questions or anything like that that you might have. And then you're going to receive the keys, and then you're going to celebrate. What to avoid in the home buying process. There's a few things that we need to keep in mind. First of all, looking at homes before you've been pre-qualified. You don't want to look at a house that's way out of your price range. Talking to only one lender. Buddy Joe, he got a great deal from this great lender. You should only talk to him. Well, you know what? He was probably the perfect lender for Joe, but you're not Joe. So let's find the lender that's right for you and your personal situation. Buying more home than you can comfortably afford, let's face it, it's easy enough to do, but once you have the house, you want to still be able to go out, you still want to be able to have fun. So definitely buy the house that's affordable and that you know that there'll be no trouble making those payments. Taking advice from family and friends, absolutely. Everybody has their horror stories. Everybody has their own opinion, and they were going to share it with you. But just remember that it's okay to listen, but you only have to listen to the people whose name is on the mortgage and whose name is on the title to the house. And so, you can listen and learn from other people's experiences, but make your own decisions. Don't move too fast. This is what being in that backup offer position is, so that if somebody else has moved too fast, guess who's in the backup position to leap on that? So again, we are going to know what we're getting into. We're not going to move too fast, but we're going to move fast enough to get the house. Draining your savings, don't want to do that. There are hidden costs. There's always something that comes up after you move into the house. So again, we don't want you to be house poor. Being careless with credit, basically as soon as you start that mortgage application, consider yourself frozen. There'll be no new credit. There'll be no more old credit. Don't close any credit cards. Don't buy anything huge. Don't do anything that's going to show up on that credit report, especially between the time of the mortgage application and closing, because right before closing, they're going to pull another credit report, and we want those to be as close in alignment as possible. Okay. Fixating on the house and not the neighborhood. This is why I want you to drive through the neighborhoods. Neighborhood is very, very important. One of the things to remember, they talk in real estate, location, location, location. Well, we wouldn't talk about location if it wasn't important. So yes, location, location, location. It is important, but again, it's as important as the house. Making decisions based on emotions. Yes, fall in love with the house. It's okay to fall in the house. But the second we start that purchase paperwork, it becomes a business transaction. So we're going to check our feelings and check our emotions and deal with the business and the legalese that comes with that. And then when we hand the keys to you, the emotions can start in again. But again, realize this is a business transaction. Assuming that you need 20% down, well, you don't necessarily need 20% down. We might be able to work with 3.5% down. There may be other programs, and you may be able to get a gift from a friend or relative. So that will work. So it's important to check into different programs. Waiting for the unicorn. Yes, I know you're a lovely person, and and somebody would love to be able to sell you their home. They would be honored to sell you their home. But the chances of somebody who has a $500,000 home for sale and is willing to sell it to you for $300,000, that's probably not going to happen, and that's what we call the unicorn. Maybe they do exist, maybe they don't exist. I'm not the one to throw any water on that, but definitely we want remember the 80-10-10 house, so definitely that's what we're looking for. And don't miscalculate the cost of home ownership. It's when you're purchasing a house in September and all of a sudden it's the end of October and we have 6 to 8 inches of snow on the ground. It'll be like, honey, Do we have a snow shovel? There's a bit of snow out there. I can't quite open the front door. You need a snow shovel. Or you move in February or March, and all of a sudden it's April or May, and it's like, honey, we have a lawnmower. Can't seem to find the dog out there through the grass, though we have beautiful grass. Definitely, you'll have to have a lawn service or lawnmower. Stuff comes up. Maybe the neighbors are tired of watching you guys eat dinner. The wax paper only lasts for so long. Maybe you need curtains or draperies. Again, those are things that will come up. And again, talking about gift funds, let's get those gift funds in line prior to the mortgage application or during the mortgage application, and let's be upfront with all of that and whatever paperwork or letters that need to be signed. So, what does Nancy do? Nancy's a realtor. What do realtors do? Well, first of all, I set your expectations. We talk, we get to know each other, and then we find the right house for you. I lead the transaction using my calm approach. I clarify things for you. I assure you. I lead the process with the listing agent and the seller, and then we move forward to a successful transaction. I set you up for success with the seller. I talk to the listing agent and find out what the seller's needs and wants are, and we try to really gear our purchase offer to what their needs and wants are within your needs and wants. I ask the necessary questions and probably a lot of unnecessary questions, but the questions need to be answered. I take those to the listing agent and we get your answers for you. I perform a neighborhood price comparison report, so you kind of have an idea as to what the prices are currently in that particular neighborhood. I negotiate your offer and your counter offer. I provide an estimation of closing costs, so you always know where you stand within the offer, and as counter offers are going back and forth, if there's any changes in pricing or somebody's paying somebody else's closing costs, you will know exactly what you are going to need at that closing table. I'm your coach. I'm going to be your cheerleader. I'm going to be your teammate. I'm going to be your confidant. I'm hopefully going to be your favorite auntie when this whole process is over with. Whatever you need me to be during that process, that's who I am. Sometimes it's basically just holding your hand through the process. Anything that we need to do to really get that moving forward. And then the biggest honor that I have is being able to present you with your keys at closing. To me, that's a culmination of a lot of hard work, and I'm going to be as happy for you as you are for you. Fiduciary duties are owed to clients by any realtor. These include loyalty, which basically means to put your best interests ahead of our own, obedience to carry out your lawful instructions, disclosure to disclose any and all material facts that we know about the property and home, confidentiality, take that to the grave. Even long after the transaction is closed and you've received the keys to the house, confidentiality goes on forever. Reasonable care is to use all of my skills, knowledge, training, and experience to carefully perform my duties for you, and accounting to account for any property or money that has been received. Until we have a signed contract between the two of us, you're my customer and I owe you confidentiality. To get the other fiduciary duties, we do need to have a signed buyer agreement between the two of us, and it's basically a buyer agent agreement that I am your agent working on your behalf and you are a buyer for real estate. So we will sign that contract, and then together, once that's signed, we can go ahead, move forward towards looking at homes and basically starting on the home purchase process. There's a lot of your questions. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me via email at nancy.berger@cbrealty.com, or feel free to call or text me at 651-236-0636. And of course, you're always welcome to stop by my website, homeswithnancyberger.com, and check out any listings, save searches, anything that you would like to do. You can contact me through that website also. So I'd love to be your realtor, and I'm here to help you in any way that I can. Thank you so much for listening and watching my presentation today. Best wishes always, Nancy.